Another very cool and interesting thing that you could do in Fusion, which is actually new to version 14, is something called embossing. And we can use curves to create embossed areas on your model here. And it's easier for me to actually show you than it is to explain it. So here goes. So in item mode, I'm going to select my curve, and I'm going to select my Fusion object there. And I'm going to go right over here to where the strip buttons are. And on the first one, and this is the only one that actually works for embossing. So I'll click on that, and you can see right away it created a surface strip there, just as it normally would. And I'm going to go ahead and increase the width, because it's like 1 millimeter by default. But for this to look good, kind of need to bring that up a little bit. So it gave me a strip width of, let's see, 23 millimeters. And the rows in that strip are 6. I don't need that many. I'll just go to set it to 2, and that's good right there. And the next thing I need to do is to enable the embossing function. So let's go to the bottom of the properties panel of the curve item here, and we'll click enable embossing. You'll notice that it kind of changes it a little bit. And let's make sure that in our Fusion item, embossing is also enabled. So we'll find that near the top, and I've got it checked here, embossing enabled. So yeah, so that works. So now let's go ahead and set some distance for the embossing feature here. So right back up to my curve object there, you'll notice near the bottom, you'll have an outward offset, inward offset, and middle offset. Let's try the middle offset, and let's set that to 10 millimeters. And right away you notice that that little strip area there is raised about 10 millimeters off the surface. And also make that a negative 20 millimeters. Yeah, and so that works. And now I'm going to set that back to 0. And I'm just going to do a offset on the inward portion here. I'll do that at negative 10 millimeters. Oops, 10 millimeters, not meters. There we go. And so yeah, so that works. And let's set that to 0 and just do the outward offset, and I'll just dial that up manually using the virtual sliders there. Yeah, and then I'll take that middle offset, bring that down. Now I have a little trough and a raised area, lower area. So yeah, so you can see you could do some embossing and debossing of your model with curves quite easily. And again, this is live, so if I go to my polygons, I can just edit those, change the shape of that embossed area on the fly. Now, as we can see here, this process also works with open-ended curves as well. So let me go ahead and just select this curve. I'll select my primary object here, and I'll go here and just click on the apply surface strip. And let's go back over to this curve 2. And let's set this strip rows down to 2, and then just ratchet this guy up right about there. Okay, so we're good there. Now we just have to make sure that enable embossing is on this guy right there. Okay, you can tell embossing is enabled because it adds these extra rows outside of the curve part of it here. So so yeah, and now all we have to do is put an offset, 20 millimeters. Whoa, 20 millimeters. There we go. And yeah, so that's all there is to that. All right.